I'm really impressed with our freshman class. There's a lot of things ways I can answer that question. I'm really impressed with our true freshman class. I'm just going to say it's probably, if not it's one of the most special groups of young men that we've ever recruited on one side of the ball here. I think, to a man, I think all those guys are going to be significant players for us here in the future. Some of them probably sooner rather than later.
Are you going to need contributions from those young guys as far as your team?
Yeah, we're still figuring that out. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of true freshmen play for us this year, kind of the way we're trending right now. It's an interesting mix that we have on defense because we've got some really good veteran leadership, some guys that have played a lot of football, and then a lot of new guys. You know, some of them first year in the program, some of them second year in the program, some of them maybe even third year in the program, just haven't been on the field much. And we're going to need those guys if we're going to be really, really good.
Is there a guy for you that didn't start last year that's just soaring right now?
You know, it depends on how you look at it. You know, I'm incredibly impressed with Jacob Parrish. He wasn't a starter for much of last year. He's playing at an extremely high level. VJ Payne didn't start last year. He's playing at a high level. Des Purnell is playing at an extremely high level. You know, he played a significant amount last year, but not at the level that he's playing at right now. He's so fast and playing so well, and he's put on 15 pounds. He's a different body type than he was a year ago. So I think there's a lot of guys that were small contributors last year that are going to be big contributors this year, and I think that's the sign of a healthy program, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
How have you seen Parrish develop even more from a year ago?
Well, a year ago he was just a really good athlete that didn't have a great idea of what he was doing or we were doing, and I think that's where his biggest off-season gains have come. Is I think he's really evolved in his understanding of what we're doing, and I think that's going to help him in situational football. We've done a lot of situational things the last few days. It's going to allow us to move him around in some different positions, and he's going to be a rock-solid star wherever he is.
At the end of the season, where do you like the tackle distribution to come from? Is there a certain position you want leading the pack versus another?
Yeah, nose tackle. I'd love the nose tackle to make every snap. We don't. You know, we generally have an idea that these people are going to be in the box, in the core a lot, and these people are not. Formationally, sometimes things can get dictated to us a little bit, and we're good with that. I think one of our emphasis in recruiting has been recruiting good tacklers across the board. If you're a corner, if you're a safety, if you're a field safety, you know, you got to be able to get people on the ground, and you can't hide because offenses are too good. They're gonna find your weak link if you have one. So we've worked really hard to extract that.
Van Malone talked about having some sleepless nights with the quarterback departures. Were those the same for you, and has that been lessened with what you've seen in practice?
I you know, felt bad about it in January, but the more we saw those guys work, and when I say those guys, I'm talking about Jacob Parrish, Will Lee coming in here as a transfer, Keenan Garber, you know, a guy that just played in the Sugar Bowl and in the Big 12 Championship at corner out of a miracle. He's really evolved in the position. Justice James has come out of you know, place where he didn't really know what we were doing last year to a place where he's going to be a solid contributor. We brought in a transfer, Tyler Nalome, who's you know, will factor into this. A couple true freshmen that are pretty special at that position too. So I don't worry about it at all.
What kind of help did Nate Matlack give you this year, Joe?
He can give us a great 1-2 punch, great 1-2-3-4 punch, to be honest with you, because, you know, obviously with Khalid in that position, we feel like we've got a very dynamic pass rusher. I think Nate's a dynamic pass rusher. I've always said this. I think Nate's one of the best pass rushers in the country. Just hasn't been healthy for a whole year to prove it. And, you know, couple that with what Brendan Mott's doing. You know, we've got some guys that can really get after it on the edge, and I'm excited to see Nate on September 2nd.
How fun is it for you to be able to, you know, shuffle every year, right? You know, you have newcomers, transfers, all that. Is it a challenge, or is it fun for you to be able to develop so many different guys every single year, depending on who leaves and stuff like that?
That's what it's about to me. I think that's the way you run a program, is you bring people in and you bring them up your way. I know there's kind of a dichotomy of thinking in college football. You know, sometimes people lose guys and they just replace them with transfer portal guys, and there is a place for that, but I don't think you're going to develop a lot of continuity that way. You might be a little bit better athletically, but guys aren't going to be as solid in their foundation of what they know and solid in the foundation of the core values of your program as if you bring them up when they're freshmen. So I think that's the whole profession, is getting in young guys and developing them.
Coaching is the offense every day. Is there a constant few players that are kind of giving you headaches repeatedly?
I'm really excited about our running back tandem. A lot of buzz about the departure of Deuce Vaughn, and of course he was really special, but we've got a pretty good, solid backfield. I'm just really impressed with Will Howard. I think Will Howard is phenomenal. He's a difference maker, and I think we knew that at the end of last year. But he's just what he does every day and how he shows up every day. I couldn't be more impressed with him as a leader and as a player.
With Marquis Siegel, did the experience that he brought in make it a lot easier for him to adjust than, say, some other players?
Yeah, and the fact that he came from a place where, up at North Dakota State, they're probably using a lot of the same terminology that I had used when I was there, and so there was some familiarity with some of the concepts and the ways that we might teach certain skill sets. So it made his transition a lot easier. The fact that he went through spring practice was huge, because there was a first part of the spring, not unlike Josh Hayes a year ago, where he was kind of swimming in things a little bit. And as things continued to evolve, I think by the end of spring he felt really comfortable. Right now he's playing as fast as anybody we have on defense.
How do you see VJ take that next step?
We've shuffled VJ around a few positions, similar to Jacob. I think when you're a true freshman, you're just caught in the moment and you're just trying to play fast. And that's still what we want him to do, but hopefully now we can play a little bit more intelligently, use him more as a communicator, more of a quarterback of what we're doing back there, instead of just being a piece that listens to others. I think he's a guy that can direct the traffic a little bit more.
The 3-3-5, you've done it for a couple years now. How have you seen that evolve, and just the different gadgets you're able to stick in there?
Yeah, I think you got to stay ahead of the posse on some things, and it's not like you can just sit in the same thing year after year after year, and because I think if you don't evolve, people will catch up to you. That's what made the 3-3-5 really special. That's why so many people are going to it, is because I think offenses are still adjusting to that, and we're recognizing that, hey, now there's Iowa State, there's TCU, there's Oklahoma State, there's us. A lot of schools in our league are doing that. So what's the next step in the evolution, so that we can stay ahead of what offenses are going to try to do to counter what we're doing?
Time for one or two more.
Kobe's unbelievable. Kobe's unbelievable as a leader. He's unbelievable. He's just absolutely fearless. You would have never known that he was injured toward the end of last year by the way he goes about his business every day.